Hi, I'm Doug Porter, Chief Economist with the Bank of Montreal. Well, with the first quarter wrapping up, it's a good time to stand back and take a bit of stock in terms of what's happened in the markets and the economy since the start of 2017. And what we've generally seen is that the financial markets overall have been relatively positive, not overwhelmingly so, but relatively positive so far in 2017, with most equity markets up and bond yields stable and in some cases down a little bit. The one interesting feature so far this year, though, is that the US dollar, counter to what most economists and analysts believed at the start of the year, has actually weakened against almost every major currency in the world since the start of the year. Now let's unpack that a bit. What's going on? Given the fact that the Federal Reserve actually raised interest rates, the US economy is seen as one of the growth leaders. Why then is the US dollar in retreat so far in 2017, even against the Canadian dollar to a small extent? Partly what's going on is there is some disappointment, at least so far, in terms of what's actually happening on the ground in the US economy. All kinds of US economic indicators have been improving, but when we look at the broad growth numbers, economists have actually been marking down their forecast for the US economy since the start of the year. And in fact, it now looks like growth in the first quarter in the US will come in at around 1% or so, well shy of the kind of solid growth rates that most, including the Federal Reserve, were expecting for this year. Now, do we think that's going to last? No, we haven't really adjusted our full year forecast much for the US. But I would just caution to note that, given the problems that President Trump has had even getting health reform through, I think it's going to be a long time before we see really anything meaningful for the economy in terms of whether it's infrastructure spending or tax reform. And we're really not building any fiscal stimulus into our U.S. forecast for this year. We think overall the U.S. economy will do well to grow at about 2.5% in 2017. Interestingly, on the other side of the coin, Canada has been going in absolutely the opposite direction since the start of the year. In contrast to the US, almost every major Canadian economic indicator is surprised to the high side. Most economists are busily revising up their forecast for Canada this year. In terms of what that means, we still believe that the Bank of Canada will be very reluctant to raise interest rates this year. But we do think at the very least it will help put a floor under the Canadian dollar, and we actually see the Canadian dollar ending this year very close to where it sits now at around 75 cents. That's the economic commentary for this month. Thank you very much.